Me scandal about shut your mouth, you know. When I talk, don't open your mouth.
It is no secret. Jamaica experiences reports of domestic violence.
Sometimes him beat me in front of the picnic them.
There is no excuse for abuse, and the government has implemented a plan with the hope of beating domestic violence out of the country. The data on gender-based violence says much. In Jamaica, 1 in every 4 women is abused. Globally, 1 in every 3 women is a victim. Coupled with that, domestic violence has no regard for age or status. Men are also victims, so too girls as young as age 15, who are being physically, sexually, and emotionally abused in intimate partner relationships. With year-on occurrences of all forms of gender-based violence, the government has been courting several plans to eliminate the act. Finally, a perfect relationship has been formed and has given birth to a 10-year plan for ending this cowardly act. The National Strategic Action Plan to Eliminate Gender-Based Violence in Jamaica, NSAP-GBV for short.
The period is 2017 to 2027. 2017 to 2027. And that plan is predicated on the due diligence framework, which allows us to have 5 strategic priority areas. The first one is prevention. How do we engage key stakeholders so that they become a part of the solution and not a part of the problem?
A major component of the prevention strategic area is the implementation of a No Excuse for Abuse social media-driven campaign.
We are very fortunate to have been blessed with a 3-year MOU through our partner, UN Women, that will allow us to do a 6-month campaign. We think that this campaign should make a huge difference, and we plan to have it rolled out in a very robust manner across communities and engaging different players at different times. The second strategic priority area is protection. That looks at how do we ensure that once the person becomes a victim, there is the adequate provision for shelter, there is provision for psychosocial support and rehabilitation. How do we look at the perpetrator as well?
The third priority strategic area covers the investigation, prosecution, and enforcement of court orders.
So once a person has been a victim, becomes a victim, what sort of mechanisms are in place to ensure that the victim gets redress and gets compensation if that is what is required? And if there is a protection order that is required, how do we ensure that the protection order is taken out and that it is enforced? And if there is an issue with compliance, which happens in some cases, where the perpetrator decides to violate the protection order, how do we ensure that it is enforced? And how do we ensure that the victim has protection? The fourth strategic priority area looks at compensation, reparation, and redress. How do we ensure that victims and survivors have adequate compensation for redress for wrongs that have been done? And how do we compensate? What forms of redress are appropriate? What is affordable given our limited fiscal space? The fifth and final strategic priority area is data collection and the systems by which we have a management of data. Gone are the days where persons talk from their heads about gender-based violence, because we now have a survey findings, a set of survey findings that's put together in a report. It's called the Women's Health Survey, and that survey for us is very important.
Released in 2017, the Women's Health Survey was conducted by the Inter-American Development Bank, UN Women, and the Statistical Institute of Jamaica. It provides facts, not anecdotal information about the violence some persons face. Eliminating gender-based violence will not be a band-aid fix. With the help of local and international partners, government has crafted a research-driven program to involve major stakeholders. The goal is simple yet revolutionary: to bring an end once and for all to this scourge that has crippled families and impacted our country psychologically and financially.